Hi there, this is Jason Dunn from Smartphone Thoughts, and this is an unboxing and first impressions video of the Pantech Matrix Pro. So as you can tell, this is an AT&T branded phone. As far as I know, in the United States, this is an exclusive for AT&T, so you're not going to see this phone on any other networks. Let's take a look at what's inside the box. AT&T branding everywhere, of course. We have a quick start guide, which is actually pretty nice because it's in full color, glossy, so it'll teach you how to use the phone. We have a couple pieces of paper. I'm not sure why those are there. This is a review unit for me, and so I was actually given an AT&T SIM. Obviously, if you're already an AT&T customer, you won't get a SIM inside the box. And here is the phone itself. So what's interesting about this phone, number one, is that it's fairly small. Like it's quite small in the hands. After we're done here, I'll take a look and I'll compare it to a couple of other phones. But what's interesting is that it is a dual slider. So it slides this way, meaning you can access the number pad here, but it also slides this way, giving you a full QWERTY keyboard. So it's one of the more interesting designs I've seen, because there's a couple phones like the T-Mobile Shadow that have this design. You pop it up and you get the keyboard here. I'm not very good with QWERTY, or sorry, T9 style keyboards like this in terms of entering text. So I really like to have a QWERTY keyboard, but dialing a phone is a bit awkward like this. It's not quite as natural. So I'm looking forward to actually using this phone because I think this might give me an interesting, way to sort of do both. It is not too bad for thickness. I'll compare it to a couple other devices later, but again, it's basically about how it feels in the hand. Now, in terms of specifications, it's 0.85 inches thick. It's 2 inches across this way, and it's 4.17 inches tall. It weighs in at 4.3 ounces. That's with the battery, which is presumably somewhere still in the box here. Talk time is supposed to be up to 3 hours. Standby time is 10.4 days, so pretty good standby time there. Now, this is a GSM, GPRS, Edge, UMTS, HSDPA, HSUPA phone. What does that mean? It's a GSM phone that does 3G speeds. Now, because this is being released in the United States, it has the 850, 1900, and 21 megahertz bands. Now, what that means is that you'll get 3G speeds when you're in North America. I'm actually in Canada myself, and we use the same bands as the Americans do. But if you take this phone over to Europe, you might not get a 3G connection, depending on whether or not the 3G is offered on those other frequencies. Now, this is a quad band GSM phone, which means that this is sort of a world phone. You can take it essentially anywhere in the world that they have a GSM network, and you will connect, and you'll also get GPRS Edge data speeds. So nowhere near as fast as 3G, but you will get data that way. It's using Windows Mobile 6.1 standard. Now, the AT&T website actually says it's professional. That is not the case. This is not a touchscreen device, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. So it is running Windows Mobile 6.1 standard. In terms of storage, it has 256 megs of ROM for storage, and it has 128 megs of RAM. And 128 megs of RAM on a smartphone is great. There's a lot of smartphones on the market right now that only come with 64 megabytes, the Windows Mobile standard smartphone, so it's great to see 128. And it also has a micro SD card slot. I'm not 100% sure where. Yeah, there we go. So right here, underneath here, is where you put the micro SD card slots. And that spec supports up to 32 gigabytes of storage. Right now, the biggest you can get at the time of this filming is a 16 gigabyte card, but you can very easily bump up the storage on this. The screen itself, I'll just take this off so you can see it. The screen itself is a 2.4 inch across. It's a QVGA screen, so it is 240 by 320. So that's kind of a low resolution, but again, not that unusual for a phone like this. It has a 2 megapixel camera on the back. There's no flash as far as I can tell. And then, of course, it has the sliding, the 12-key keyboard, and then obviously the QWERTY keyboard. Now, you can get this from AT&T, as I said. It was just officially made available on February the 24th, so pretty recently. And you can get it for $179 with a 2-year contract, and that is after a $50 mail-in rebate. So that's all the specs on the phone. We'll put it aside and just check out what else is inside the box here. We have a charging cable here, and oh, this is interesting. So it looks like it uses, you know, I'm not 100% sure if that's actually if that's a proprietary cable, or if that is a proprietary cable, or some sort of a micro USB cable. I have to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. I do see that I did kind of screw up here. This slot on the bottom, this is actually the micro SD slot. So this is where you put in the micro SD. So that makes me wonder what this little slot is. You know, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that's the charging one. If it is, I'm gonna cry, because this is really hard to get open. It is. Okay, yeah. See, you learn something new every day when you do unboxing videos. So that's actually the charging port. Okay, so this thing does actually, it pulls out. I was just trying to sort of pull it open, and there's a lot of tension, but if you actually kind of pull a bit harder, it actually does come out a little bit there. So yeah, kind of weird. I'm not sure how much I like this. I mean, genuinely, I dislike custom, you know, charging solutions. I can't even get this thing connected. I really dislike custom charging ports, and I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. So, well, I'll have to investigate that and make sure it's not something else. I guess on the plus side, this is a nice and small AC adapter. It does not have a 3.5mm headphone jack, which means if you want to use that as an MP3 player or listen, you know, watching movies or whatever, you're going to have to use this custom adapter. Again, I really hate little custom adapters. I really wish AT&T or Pantech would have put a 3.5mm headphone jack on here, because who wants to have to carry around a little dongle? It's one more thing to have to remember. It is one more thing to lose. Now, the battery is a 1320 milliamp lithium polymer battery, so it's actually a pretty good size battery for this, you know, size of a phone. That's probably why you get decent battery runtime. So that pops in there. See if there's anything else interesting. The back of it, the USB cable for synchronization, and then we're looking at some just some basic software. So I'll get rid of all this, and I'll be back in a second, and we will compare the size of this phone to a couple of other phones on the market that are similar. Alright, and we're back. So, in the middle, I have the Pantech Matrix Pro. I forgot to mention that it actually also comes with a small carrying case. It's just a little sleeve. I actually really like this. This is, you know, it's a nice soft sleeve. When you put the device in it, it'll also clean the screen, and then you can also use it to polish the very shiny surface, because you know it's going to get covered in fingerprints. So, good job on Pantech and AT&T for including this. So, on the right here, I have a Touch Duo, or sorry, a Touch Pro is what this unit is called. And you know, just in terms of size comparisons, they're very similar. You know, in terms of thickness, they're pretty similar in terms of overall height. The Pantech device feels quite a bit, you know, smaller in the hands. This one feels a little bit bigger. This one also, of course, also has like a VGA screen and whatnot. Boy, sorry about all these reflections. It's pretty incredible. You know, these devices, they just reflect everything because they're so shiny. So this is definitely a higher end phone. It's a touchscreen phone, but you know, just to give you an idea in terms of thickness. Over here we have a Touch Diamond, and the Touch Diamond is quite a bit thinner, but the Touch Diamond has no keyboard at all. Right now, if I take a look at my my Samsung jack, the Samsung jack, Blackjack 2 is what it's called in the United States. The Samsung Blackjack 2, sorry, is smaller. It is a little bit taller, but it's also narrower. But again, it has a front-facing QWERTY keyboard, and that's about it. So the Matrix Pro. Overall, first impressions, you know, it's pretty cool to be able to flip the keyboard, although you did see how long that took That is kind of an unfortunate reality with a lot of Windows Mobile phones, is that it is a little bit slow when it comes to flipping. However, you don't need to flip to dial the phone because you can just pop out the bottom and dial. So my initial impressions of the phone, I'll be following up with an actual review coming up a little bit later. So this has been Jason Dunn from Smartphone Thoughts. If you have any questions, please post them. Thanks for watching.